what elements do you think have contributed the most to DBS's success in its transformational journey?
So, Nandini, when I put together this transformation program, and this is the second wave, I've sort of thought of my agenda in three ways. The first wave, the first 3-4 years, when we were trying to leverage on the Asia wave and build an Asia franchise. In 2013, two things happened which are game-changing for us. One, we were trying to buy a bank in Indonesia, and the regulators changed the rules on us halfway. They wouldn't let us buy it. So it became quite clear to me that M&A, or the traditional way of growing through inorganic deals, was going to be very hard. India wouldn't let you buy a bank. China wouldn't let you buy a bank. So I figured we're going to have to think about this whole question differently. But the other thing that happened, which was game-changing, was I wound up having breakfast with Jack Ma. And at that stage, Alibaba was already big. Ant did not exist, but they had launched Alipay, and they were doing a lot of stuff with digital payments. In that breakfast meeting, Jack explained to me his vision for what he was trying to do in the financial services space. And that blew me away. You talk about a burning platform. I left that 1 hour breakfast scared out of my wits. I figured, what they're trying to do is going to revolutionize the way banking happens. And they're doing it in China. They're already beginning to see early successes. This is going to be a global phenomenon. And so I was personally persuaded that the battle of the future is going to be who can control this transformation and become a true digital company, a true technology company. In fact, I went to the extent of convincing myself that in the future, industries are dead. Mark Andreessen said it well. Software is eating every industry. So finally, every company is a technology company. Every industry is a technology industry. So you just have to believe I'm a technology company offering financial services, as opposed to believing that you're a bank. And so to do that, you need a program. So in 2014, the same time I was talking about my Phuket thing, we launched this whole program. We called it Making Banking Joyful Transformation. And we architected it around 3 pillars. The first pillar was pure tech. We were all, like most banks and most legacy companies, we were sitting with and burdened with technology which was 30, 40, 50 years old. We had large mainframes, we had monolithic applications, we had everything which had been written on COBOL, C++, and Fortran. And banks used to find it extraordinarily difficult to migrate from that to any new technology. In fact, banks over the years spent millions and billions of dollars trying to do these big bang transformations. Many had failed. In fact, DBS wrote off $500 million in the mid 2004-5 because they tried to do a core banking transformation, which went south. So my first thing was you got to change your tech stack, and we learned to our amazement that this could be done far more easily with today's technology than we had believed. Ever since Amazon came up with AWS, all of the big tech companies, they were all born with our kind of technology. They all had big mainframes and IBM and Oracle. But they started changing from 2000. And the bulk of the tech stack and tech architecture changed between 2000 and 2010-12. In fact, Netflix, a very famous story, in 2007, as late as that, Netflix had a 3-day outage in New York because the old technology platform didn't work. And so AWS came to them and said, look, we built all of these cool native, cloud-native tools. Why don't you use our tools? And that's when Netflix started changing. And today, Netflix is one of the most advanced technology companies. So we figured we could change our tech stack. And we gave ourselves 4 years to do that, to move into a completely cloud-native, cloud-enabled tech stack. So that was one pillar. Again, by the way, the same cultural stuff I talked about. We came up with a program called Gandalf. There's the Lord of the Rings wizard, if you remember. My CIO came up with this, quite cool, very good branding. Because he said, it's Google, Amazon, Netflix, LinkedIn, Apple, Facebook, it's GANALF. We need a D, and then we become Gandalf. So DBS became the D in Gandalf. So that was a program of technology change, how we can be the D in Gandalf, which taught all our techies. And by the way, we now have 10,000 techies, engineers. We have twice as many engineers and bankers in DBS. But it gave all our engineers the belief that we can be Amazon, we can be Google. And so that was one pillar. The second pillar of the transformation journey was this thing about customer obsession. I talked to you about it already. In the first 3-4 years, it already made customer service, a customer value proposition. We came up with a mnemonic called RED, to be respectful, easy to deal with, and dependable. So we've done a bunch of stuff. But in 2014, I realized that what made the difference to all of the big tech companies is that they were really obsessed with the customer. I learned again from Amazon, Jeff Bezos in his meetings did not let you talk P&L. You were not allowed to talk numbers. You were not allowed to talk, at least in those days, I think they sort of modified it. But certainly at that time, every meeting, you were only allowed to focus on what is the customer proposition, how we're doing against it, and anything about P&L numbers, etc., was bad. Now, that kind of obsession is not easy. And so we really doubled down on journey thinking, on, we adopted Clay Christensen's idea of the jobs to be done. So really understanding what is the true emotional, deep-rooted job that the customer needs. And we started hiring ethnographers, we hired anthropology people to do deep observation and deep learning. So you get a really good understanding of what you're solving for. So the customer obsession was the second pillar. And the third pillar was this pillar of how do you start operating like a startup? So culture change. And it was quite interesting because I spent 4 years, the first 4 years, trying to make DBS a multinational.